choreography.
Lovely Miss Yaya Han, a cosplay ambassador, who also has a lovely line of cosplay bags.
Yes.
Have at it, y'all.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Mark. I'm from Choreography, and my question to you is this. You are basically the creme de la creme of cosplay who everyone wants to aspire to be. My question to you is, how do you feel knowing that like the entire community looks up to you as a beacon of hope of something that they aspire to become?
Heavy question to kick off this interview. So yeah, thank you very much. I have been cosplaying for over 20 years. I feel very lucky that I just discovered cosplay a very long time ago, you know, and at a young enough age that I could really sort of devote my life to it. And so I have grown up within the cosplay community and the convention world, and so this is not only like the thing that I know the most about, but it's the world that means the most to me because it's shaped me in every way. And while I started out cosplaying just for fun, I do understand and recognize that I am a person with, you know, a far-reaching influence, and that lots of people look up to me, and it's an honor. It's a big responsibility. It's pressure sometimes, but for the most part, I'm just really grateful to still be able to do this, you know. And it's like, how many people can say that they've, you know, been able to do the same thing that they love for 20 some years. So I think there are moments where the community expects a lot from me, especially now that I work with, you know, companies like Joanne and create resources for cosplayers. And I think a lot of times projects that I'm involved with and that my name is on, the people that see it, they just kind of put all the expectations on me, not knowing that behind the scenes there are a lot of, you know, other factors and things that I can't control. So sometimes it is a lot of pressure to want to do right by the community. But for the most part, I just want to continue to give back to the community and create more resources and make it easier for more people to get into cosplay, and cosplay like at ease, you know, like where they can really do it without feeling so much anxiety around it. Because I think this is a kind of a high pressure type of unique art form that requires a lot from you. So I just want many, many more people to feel comfortable within it. So, sorry, very long-winded answer.
No, that was perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Yeah, you kind of actually took my whole question, so I'm actually kind of directing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you've been doing cosplay for my name's like, I'm sorry, I just get straight into conversation. So, because you've been doing cosplay for a very long time, what has been your reset? And what I mean by reset, what has rejuvenated you? Because sometimes you go through the motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to just kind of step back to regenerate yourself to be able to continue doing what you're doing. What is that for you? And also, too, how do you encourage others to do the same thing? Because, like you said, it's a high pressure thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you explain to them, hey, you need to find something that just kind of separates you from it so that you can reset and come back to it? Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
It totally makes sense.
Okay.
And as for the reset, the last big reset that I had was during the pandemic. 100%. I feel like there were a few years where I was doing a lot of guest appearances and, you know, creating like the fabric lines and all the different things that I was doing. And it did become a little bit stagnant. And I wrote my book called Yaya Han's World of Cosplay in 2019 and expected it to come out in 2020, be able to do a big book tour about it. And I actually, like, for a little bit sort of had this grandiose fantasy of like, it will lead me to other opportunities and maybe that's like eventually be my exit strategy from cosplay or something. Like, I was just like, didn't know what, I just hyped up the book a lot and thought that it was gonna be like this big thing. And then the pandemic hit, my book tour was canceled, every convention that I had, you know, contractually obligated to go to was canceled. And I basically spent 2 years at home making face masks and just having an existential crisis over what it is that I did with my life. So, but then during the pandemic, I also started to really like kind of focus back in on the creativity. So it's like I started building photo sets and I started making costumes of characters that I was just into. I didn't have like an obligation to go to a con. I could literally just be like, oh, I'm watching Cells at Work. I love White Blood Cell. I'm gonna just make that costume and do like a bloody photo shoot and stuff. And it was just really refreshing to remember why I love cosplay to begin with, and that it was about the characters and about sort of creating an environment and telling a story. And I also, I think, really reset my priorities. You know, like it wasn't like, oh, I need to like continue to push higher and do more things and climb higher or something. It became more important to me to be like, when I have the chance to meet people again and go back to conventions again, I want to just appreciate being with them. And that's what I've been doing for the last year is, you know, now conventions are back and I just am so much more invigorated meeting everyone, and I pick costumes that I personally love and I don't really care about whether it's popular or not. And kind of weirdly enough, it's led me to other opportunities. Like my newest project that I just teased the other day is I'm going to be the official Chun-Li for Street Fighter 6 coming out. So it's like those types of things, I'm just like, you know, that I think a few years ago I would have been like, yeah, what do I need to do to achieve that? But now it's like, because I kind of just went back to the creativity and the love of it, that sort of like led to that. So yeah, I'm just so happy and grateful to be here. So thanks MomoCon for having me.
So what do you encourage the reset for others? How do you encourage them to do that? Just tell them that story?
The way that I encourage others is to, well, first I tell them to read my book, because I think for many people, I sort of like give off that, you know, either intimidating air or that I have everything figured out. And I think through the book, they can really get to know me and get to know like the insecurities and the vulnerability, things that I can't really show that easily, you know, at a con. And I tell them that they can absolutely work at their own pace and that they should always, always, always choose characters to be that they love. Like it has to come from the heart. You can't maintain a cosplay journey when you cosplay characters that you think other people will like, or you think that other people expect, or other people tell you that you would look good at, or that are popular because you want to like go viral or something. You know, you can't maintain that. So for someone like me who's been doing it for 20 years, the only reason I'm able to continue being excited about cosplay is I continue to choose projects and characters that mean a lot to me personally. So that is my advice for them, and it sounds very, I think like very like beginner. It's like, it's a beginner tip, but it's truly the most important tip. It's the thing that I wish that I've been told over the years, and to like never stray from that. Don't ever think, you know, I need to make this because of this opportunity or something. It's like, no, I have to make this because I love this character. I want to be this character.
Thank you.
Robert from Flirtography.
Hi.
So you talk about, you started cosplay as a hobby and doing it for over 20 years. Can you talk a little bit about when Yaya Han became a business, with your honeycomb textured fabric and your book, all the accessories and things like that?
So I am definitely what you would call, I used a grassroots strategy, as in when I got into cosplay, the early 2000s, it was like we couldn't even dream of making it as a living. There was no community, there was like no industry. And so I started off with doing commissions because that was like the one thing that some people were willing to pay for. They saw something I wore and they wanted me to make it for them. So that was either, accessories or parts of a costume, and eventually turned into full costume commissions. And so I ventured into doing a commission business in 2005, which, had no idea what I was doing, and did that for about a year and was completely burnt out, trying to make costumes for private clients, just people. And then I pivoted with my husband. We thankfully did it together, and so we pivoted towards making smaller, more affordable accessories. So like the kitty ears that I'm wearing here, they're made out of resin. I sculpted them originally, designed them, and we have been making these kitty ears for 18 years now, and selling them at conventions, selling them online. And so we were like making little cosplay accessories under $20, $25 is what allowed me to continue to go to conventions. So I would like go and sell in Artist Alley, and then eventually at a vendor booth, but then I would cosplay as well. And then, I started also at the beginning competing for a couple of years until the conventions said that they wanted me to judge instead. So like I had more and more reasons to go to conventions because like I could sell there. The conventions wanted me to do panels. They wanted me to judge. Even when I was like considered a guest at a convention in like the mid 2000 something, I wasn't getting paid because no one paid cosplayers. Like we were like the fan guests. So like we were lucky if we got a badge. We were lucky if like we could split a room with like staff members or something. Like I have done all of that. And so I think it wasn't until Heroes of Cosplay, which was the first network TV show about cosplay on Syfy in 2013, that like after Heroes of Cosplay aired, that is when I was able to start negotiating appearance fees with conventions. I could, actually present myself as a personality because now I've been on TV, so, I can like, they're just like, oh, there's value in that. Maybe we'll pay you something. So but then like I still continue my small business with the accessories because this is mine. It's my IP. It's a copyrighted design. It's something that no one else owns, and so it's been very important for me to continue this line and being able to continue making and offering it. And they're still handmade here in the United States. We like do them all still by hand with a very small team. And I think after Heroes of Cosplay is when I was able to, it kind of snowballed a little bit where I started making patterns for the McCall Pattern Company in 2015, and in the same year, a fabric manufacturer contacted me about creating a fabric line, and they sold it to Joanne. And so that is how the Yaya Han fabric collection came about in Joanne. And then from then on, it's like there have been many different other collaborations in like the sewing and crafting space. And I have another one. I have a really big collaboration coming out in just a couple months that I can't talk about yet. But it's great for me to make products that are geared towards cosplayers because I am, tried and true user. So I can really come from the standpoint of this is what we need because I have used fabrics and I don't like when the fabrics do this, so I want them to do that. And so I can really pinpoint for durability, for unique finishes, for like ease of sewing and such. And so it's sort of like I am a self-made businesswoman who didn't go to college because I was, immigrated to the United States when I was way too young and didn't have money. But all my experiences within the cosplay, space is what gave me the knowledge to be able to do these like sometimes global collaborations. So again, I'm very grateful to this community.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
All right, Jamie versus the world.
Jamie versus the world. Dang.
Now, before the 20 years ago, business cosplay, before all that, you were a nerd first.
Yes.
What was your nerd origin story? How did you start?
All right, my nerdy origin story is very simple. I was born in China, and I moved to Germany like when I was like 8 or 9 years old. But right before I moved, I was old enough to understand some of the anime that were playing on TV because China, being so close to Japan, had tons of anime, on TV. So like Saint Seiya was my first anime that I watched in Chinese. And China also had a lot of manga translations. And so I read Rama, I read, Dragon Ball, of course, and just different, definitely a lot of Clamp mangas. Like, I don't know if anybody is a Clamp fan, but like X 1999 or RG Veda, those types of manga. And so I came to Germany as a, young child, sort of with almost like the secret knowledge of like, anime and manga, because in Germany, no one knew about it. And so whenever I would go back to China to visit family every year, I would just like binge watch anime as well as binge read manga. I would like literally bring back a suitcase full of manga. And so it kind of was interesting because I kind of was just my own little world being like this anime fan. And very slowly, Germany started to, have a little bit of an anime community. And, but then I moved to the United States, like as a teenager. And really when I arrived in the United States, that's when I really encountered the real anime community. So like I joined an anime club and I went to my first convention, which was Anime Expo 1999, and I lost my mind because Yoko Kanno was there and did a concert. And like we had just watched Cowboy Bebop, because that also came out around that time. And so we got to like watch her play the piano on stage. And that was it, that was just it. I was like, what do I have to do to be in this world? What can I do to go to the next convention? Like anything, I would have done anything. So it's always been a part of me. I think it's like, no matter what, I would have ended up in this world somehow. If I hadn't been a cosplayer, I would have become an artist or who knows what. So, thank you.
So the cosplay community, as large as it is also very divisive. There are
Yes.
a lot of issues within the cosplay community, from crafting versus divine to certain people can't cosplay certain characters. Would you care to speak on any divisiveness within the cosplay community that has personally affected you?
Oh my gosh. Divisiveness in the community has personally affected me. Well, I did write about it in my book. I have a whole section in the book called The Duality of Cosplay, and I write about what it's like to receive negativity, the body issue for female cosplayers, and like how cosplay is not consent sort of was created, and the movement became larger. I also have a chapter on racism and blackface in cosplay, And so it's like, I really have, obviously, I know the cosplay community is not all sunshine and rainbows. So I specifically wanted to write about it, but I also, of course, have always thought about these things and thought about like, why? Why does it happen? Why do people leave shitty comments? Why do they say that, when I do a cosplay of Jessica Rabbit or Wonder Woman that, like, yeah, you're fine, but you're like the Asian version of Wonder Woman or something. So it's like, of course those things have affected me. It's always affected me, but I think by just understanding that a lot of people that find cosplayers, they have no idea that it is a form of self-expression. That our goal as cosplayers is not to perfectly replicate a character and be this fitting image of the character. Cosplay is a way for us to connect with the character and sort of make the character, a part of us. And so in that sense, it's perfectly fine for cosplayers to be different than the characters because we're just fans. But people that find you online and they just are just like, well, you don't match the image that I have in my head of this character. And they feel entitled to speak on it because they also love the character and they're familiar with the character. So they think, well, I'm allowed to say that you're not the right body type to cosplay this or something. It's like, oh yeah, this character, like, sure, you're this character, but they ate too many cookies or something. So it's like, and I always try to think about it as these comments are not about me because they don't know me, and I try to tell other cosplayers to try to remove themselves from it because, it is not about you. It is about an image that they saw for one fleeting second online. So I think we actually, this morning I had a panel with Alley Cat Cosplay and Storyteller Cosplay where we talked about exactly this, this issue in cosplay that we need more support and we need to educate each other more to like make sure everyone knows that this is a fan expression, that the whole point is that you should change the character so that it says something about you. Like accuracy be damned. I've said that for years. Like none of my costumes are accurate. I always make changes to them and I always add something of my own flair to it. I've done it since, the beginning. So I hope other people can really, speak on that and be able to create more acceptance and more understanding that, everyone should be allowed to do this and in their own way.
Chris Carpenter with Cosplay Alliance. In the past, you mentioned that when you first started to become a professional, you didn't have like support. How did that affect you, and has she come around?
My unsupportive mom, who just that's definitely a very notorious thing. For me, that I grew up with a mom who thought my manga and anime obsession was kind of a little weird, and that once I started cosplaying, she was very skeptical. She was like, it's too revealing, or you're wearing too much makeup, and then I was like, you're wasting your time doing this, when I quit my job to do cosplay. She was just like, what? And so, of course, she has turned around, and I have put a lot of effort into showing her what this world is really about. So the biggest impact that I had on my mom was taking her to a convention, and she could witness firsthand what it was like. And then for the fact that people were actually buying things, like, oh, people actually buy these little kitty ears, or wait, they buy pictures of my daughter, and then she spoke to my fans who told her like how much I influenced them and how much of an inspiration I was to them, and she was like, Yaya, this is like a thing. I was like, yes, I've been trying to tell you for years. But the great thing is, like, as soon as my mom got what I was doing and she knew it was a valid form of income, I think like the Asian mom in her was like, all right, she won't starve. So then she became actually very, very supportive. So, and I'm very grateful to cosplay because I'm able to see my mom a lot more because she lives in Germany, and I am able to go to conventions in Europe and schedule trips with her. Like I just met her in Prague a couple weeks ago because she was like, "You're gonna be in the Czech Republic for a convention? Can we go to Prague?" And so I'm like, "Yeah, sure, fly over." And I'm gonna see her in like 10 days because I'm doing a convention in Luxembourg that is like 3 hours from her house. So I'll be able to visit her and have her spoil me a little bit and then go to the con. So we've really grown a lot closer as mother and daughter, like the more, I guess, successful I've become as a cosplayer. And I think lots of parents, like that's all they want. They just want to know that their kids have a stable future and steady income. And for something like cosplay, it is still, it's a little unsure sometimes. But I meet more and more families that really support their kids, and I always tell the parents, like, thank you for supporting your child, because this is something really worthwhile doing.
All right, that was our last question. Yaya, do you mind doing a group